Welcome to this edition of Silver Sneakers Boom Mind. Boom Mind is a exercise format that combines body weight exercises and is a fusion of forms of Pilates and yoga, dynamic and static stretching, balance exercises, etc. That's designed to improve mobility, stability, flexibility, strength, and particularly to strengthen the connection between the mind and the body. The mind functions on three levels: the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. In our current highly internet influenced world, I think we work an awful lot on that unconscious level. So I'm going to try and do exercises that strengthen the other two. You might wonder why I don't have music in the background like is typical for a Pilates or yoga class. First of all, most of the music they play kind of bugs me. I don't really like it. And it has a tendency to be distracting from the recognizing the signals coming from your body, from the muscles and the fascia to the brain. The fascia have about 10 times as many nerve endings as the muscles. The fascia are the connective tissue that surrounds the muscles and the joints, the tendons, etc. So it's your primary mechanism of communicating between the body and the brain. So I do quite a few exercises that are specific for improving fascia, for their flexibility and tensile strength, and improve just the function overall. Today for this class, the equipment, I might use maybe a couple of yoga blocks, or you can do light dumbbells, something to protect your wrist for some of the poses. I use a strap to help me with stretching, and I have this platform to sit on when I need to rest. You can use a chair. A mat. It's appropriate to wear socks and shoes in the Boom Mind format. You can go barefoot on the mat, but if you're wearing socks and shoes, you want to avoid standing on the mat to minimize the risk of slips and falling. To start, just going to stand up tall. You want to be aware of your breathing. Breathing slowly, expand your abdomen out. So this is your diaphragm. And when you breathe, exhale. Try and empty your lungs. Nice slow breaths, typically in through the nose and out through the mouth. For most of our poses, we're going to hold them for 3 breath cycles in and out, for a count of about 5 seconds or so. So stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, palms forward. Let's go into some shoulder rolls, going backwards. It's important to warm up before an exercise session. If you follow me, you know that my primary warm-up is to go around this gym facility, pick up weights that have been left around. Let's go forward. Clean the bathrooms, do other sort of maintenance activity. Well, I'm not an employee. I like the way it makes me feel to have a clean facility without a lot of obstructions that I might trip over. Let's do some arm circles, starting low, palms down, circling forward. So usually after about 10 minutes of that activity, I've gotten a pretty good warm-up. I like to exercise every day that I can. Let's reverse. Figuring that my time on earth is somewhat limited, and particularly my time with a body that's able to accommodate that. Who knows how long. Plus, I'm a retired medical professional, used to working every day, being on call for crazy hours. And in retirement, I need some reason to get up every day. So I journal, I exercise, let's reverse our arm circles. Think about new ways to exercise, try and get out in the open. When this weather's bad and I can't come into the facility, at least I go outside and experience the bad weather. I love snow, rain, wind. I like to go out when it's dark, take a look at the stars, and look away to see overcast where I can't see any stars. This trunk twist, slap the flank over my kidneys. Don't know if it does any good, but kind of like a heartbeat. I like the sound. Let's do a couple more. A lot of times I don't count the amount of exercise I'm doing. I'm trying to get this connection between mind, body. So let's just do some slow marching. So I kind of go on an exercise till my mind-body connection tells me to do something else. We'll go into partial squat. Feet about shoulder width apart. The weight's evenly distributed between the balls of the feet and the heels. Hinge at your hips. Push your butt back. Just do a partial squat. If you put your hands over your quads, you can feel those muscles working. Again, influencing that mind-body connection. And you can bring your arms up. Let's bring them up and get into a nice pattern. Remember to breathe. There's some exercises for balance. So we've been standing here with our feet shoulder width apart. Let's bring our feet together. Stand up tall. Look ahead. Breathe. Then we can move into a semi-tandem where one foot is in front, the other foot, the toes are in the instep of that forward foot. Cycle of 3 breaths. And reverse, put the other foot forward, the other at the instep. You always want to think about bringing your shoulders down during these postures and your shoulder blades together. Help open up the shoulders and the chest. Then we go to a true tandem, one foot directly in front of the other. And then other foot in front of the other. And then bring the balance on one foot and lift the other leg, other foot off the floor. You can always increase the difficulty by closing your eyes. See if you can hold that posture for a few seconds with your eyes closed. Switch sides. And we can also progress the difficulty, intensity, by lifting a knee up to where your thigh is about horizontal. And other side. Back to that first side with With this one, I'm going to lift my arms up if I can. And begin to progress to one side. You can see for me, the difficulty immediately increases. I try and move my head. It's things to work on. So some dynamic balance is we want to take one leg, we'll touch it on the floor in front, to the side, behind, back together, switch sides. We'll do this pattern. Front, side, back, together, other side, front, side, back. And let's reverse it, back, side, front, together, back, side, front. And the progression is to take that foot, instead of straight in front, cross in front, far out to the side, cross behind, back, together, other side, cross in front, behind, side, together. One more inside. One more progression is to put your foot out to the side, lift it up, bring your arms up into a pose. Side, elevate, arms. The goal on this is to try and hold that posture for 3 breath cycles. Got some work to do. Shake out your legs. Now, you want to put your feet wide apart. Toes pointed about 45 degrees, or if you're in a room cornered, do a partial squat. I might call this a sumo squat. That was named when people used to ride on the back of the sumo wrestlers. So legs way far apart, pushing together, because you don't want to slip off this slippery back of the sumo wrestler. That's probably not true, I think, because the sumo wrestlers do a deep squat like that. But probably a better image would be a beer barrel squat, where you're riding on top of the beer barrel. Put your arms up with your fingers pointed about 45 degrees, and we can just do little pulses down. So up, and we can squat down and up. And for variety, we can bring our arms down, and a deeper squat. Shake it out. Is this a good time to assess your exertion level? For Boom Mind, we do 3 levels. It's too easy, it's too hard, or it's Goldilocks just right. 1 is too easy, 2 is just right, and 3, too hard. You want to be primarily in that level 2. Sometimes at 3, you can always rest, take it at your own pace. Level 1, increase a little bit, although any form of exercise, any level of exercise is beneficial. One of the most effective exercise for seniors is simply getting down on the floor and getting back up. So in this format, instead of making things efficient, where I do all my exercises standing and all my exercises on the mat, I have a tendency to mix them up. So the safest way to get down on the floor is to have some nice padding down there, because as we're seniors, we find a hard floor really, really uncomfortable. So I have a nice mat, step back, lower one leg, and I have an arm, leg. I don't want to topple over. So it might look clumsy, but that's probably the safest way to do it. Bring down the other hand and the other leg. So I'm down on the floor. Now, getting back up is my strategy, is to get back up any way I can safely. So I have both hands down, I bring a knee up, put a hand on that knee, then I'm going to push off with this hand and bring the other leg up. You can also have something close by, a chair or support, even a foam roller to give you a little bit of increased stability. Again, don't worry about looking coordinated or graceful. It's just trying to get up off the floor, which, as you watch the commercials where I've fallen and I can't get up, we want to avoid that as long as possible. So starting off with some exercises. Again, to protect my wrists, I have yoga blocks here. I also have these handles so I can keep my forearm, wrist straight. If you don't have a problem with your wrist, then you can certainly put your palms flat onto the floor. I'm going to start with what we call a cat-cow stretch. This is where we arch or flex our back and then extend, push our belly button towards the floor, arch, remember to breathe, get a nice stretch, and then the cow part. And one last time, arch. And extend the back. Moving on to a bird dog, we keep our weight on one arm and our one knee. Start bringing an arm up to horizontal and bring the opposite leg up to horizontal. Back, switch sides, and hold for a couple breaths. You can add some pulses to the arm and the leg. On this and similar exercises, you want to see if you can keep your shoulders parallel to the floor, your hips as well, so not a lot of twerking. One way to test this, we'll start with a shoulder tap on our knees. And then with both hands in support, lift one leg. Continue to move it out to the side and then across. You can tap the floor. And switch to the other side. Progression on this is to lift your knees off the floor into a plank position. Let's hold this for a few seconds. A few good breaths. As we get stronger and more stable, we can try and lift an arm up and do a shoulder tap in that plank position. I'm not ready for that myself, but sometime in the future. A variation on that is to do a renegade row. So in the plank position, try and row one arm up. Again, the objective is with sufficient core strength, we can do that without rocking side to side. A modification is to do a renegade row with your knees on the floor. Let's go ahead and stand up. Got my foam roller here for assistance. Get a drink of water, shake it out, and check your exertion level, and we'll be right back. You may observe that I have limited mobility in my shoulders and spine. Process of 70 plus years, a fairly hard life. So to check this, put my arms across my chest like this and rotate side to side, warming up my thoracic and lumbar spine. If you put your hands on your hips, you'll notice that your hips are involved in a lot of this rotation movement. So to focus on just the spine, I'm going to get back down on the floor again. And take the yoga block, set it off to the side here. One leg straight, the top leg is put the knee on the yoga block. I'm going to take my shoulders perpendicular to the floor and then lift the upper arm, try and rotate it as far as I can. Remember to breathe. I'm going to switch to the other side. This is a dynamic stretch versus a static stretch where I might hold that end posture for 20 seconds or so. This is basically a movement type stretch. Later, as we finish up the video, we'll do some more static stretching. But we don't want to do that at the start. Switch sides. Now I'm coming to all fours. Same idea. This is going to be a reach through. I'm going to reach through under one arm and back and try and elevate this side. This is one where I want my shoulders and upper body to rotate. And switch sides. My goal on this is to make my range of motion better. You might find you have a lot better range of motion than me because I'm pretty tight with a lot of arthritis in through all my joints, but particularly my spine. So it's a thing I like to work on at least 3 or 4 times a week. An additional variation of this exercise is to stand up and do a wall sit, and then elevate your arms up over your head. As I promised, lots of up and down off the floor. So go ahead and get back down on your mat, laying on your back. I'm going to start working on some core and leg exercises. So first we'll do a one leg lift. So lay down, press your lower back into the mat. You can also put your hands under your sacrum, forming a little diamond to give you some support. We're going to elevate our head and shoulders, bend one knee, and the other leg, we just do some nice slow leg lifts. And switch sides. Let my foot angled out at about 45 degrees. From here, we're going to go into our classic Pilates 100, where you can bring your lower legs into a tabletop position or hold them out straight with your heels together as a progression. Elevate your shoulders up off the mat, and for each beat, we're going to pump our arms down. You want to inhale for a count of 4 to 5, exhale for a count of 4 to 5, and the goal is to do 100 repetitions of this. So in modified position, just lay tabletop up and chops. So we're halfway done. At this point, I'm going to straighten my legs and go into that straight leg elevated position to finish the next 50. Okay. Take a few deep breaths. Recover, and we'll continue with this after a little break. You know you're old whenever you need to get up out of a chair or the floor, you make some noise like ow, ooh, ooh. Moving on, I'm going to lay down on the mat on my back. And I'm going to move into a glute bridge where I'm laying flat with the weight on my upper back and shoulders. I'm going to lift my butt off the mat. Remember to breathe. The couple progressions on this is to lift one leg off. So we bridge, then we lift the leg up. If you can hold the bridge as high as possible, but keeping your spine in neutral, you don't want to over arch. And then hold the leg up for a bit longer, going to engage the core more and help strengthen that. In silver sneakers, most of the formats, they caution against having your head below heart level. And if you've noticed on the bridge, we're in that position. It's relatively safe, as if you get dizzy. It's easy enough to just lower to your butt down to the ground. However, on other postures, things like a down dog or some others, your head is below your heart for a significant period of time. So before engaging in those, I'd recommend you try to see how you can do with a modification of poses like a down dog. To start on that modification, I'm using a fairly high platform. Put my feet back and lower my head essentially to horizontal. Getting a good stretch in my posterior and left hamstrings. Then I can lower the platform. Try this one. You want to remember to breathe deeply and exhale completely. And then come to an upright standing posture slowly. With this modification, again, if you're feeling dizzy, it's easy enough to bend your knees and get your head above your heart. May or may not happen to you. I think you can train getting into that posture. If you haven't done a forward fold or similar exercise in a long time, you do want to take it slowly. So moving back to the mat, as I promised, a lot of up and down. Change orientation. So, going to move into a child's pose is where I'm sitting back, trying to sit close to my heels. Maybe you can make it. I'm going to use my handles. You can use a power block, yoga block to protect your wrist. So we're going to go into this pose. We call this a child's pose. Deep breaths. And then shift forward into a plank on your knees. Hold it for about 3 breaths again. Back to child's pose. Down plank. You can progress this by lifting your knees off of the mat. A further progression is when you're back in child's pose is to lift your knees off of the mat. This is called a bear plank. So if your arms are straight under your shoulders, and you lift your knees up. This is the bear. And a modification I really like is to go back into child's pose. Then at this point, lift your knees up and slide forward into your plank and back. Knees down, forward to plank. You bring your hands in a little bit closer. Knees up, slide into a push-up and back. That one is quite challenging, so over time you can get stronger doing that, but let's just do it once for today. Moving on, we're going to go into a down dog where our hands are in front of us, weight on our feet, and lift our posterior so we're up in a triangle, and then we're going to slide from that into bringing our knees onto the mat, arching our back into a cobra. So down dog. Knees down, bring forward, arch up. You don't want to excessively do this extension arch, just enough to where you get a good stretch on your anterior core, but without compressing your back each time. Back to down dog. Forward. And we'll repeat that one more time. Go ahead and stand up, get a drink of water, and we'll finish up with some static stretching. You might have surmised from watching this video, as I am not a particularly flexible specimen. It's important to stretch. I find stretching to be quite uncomfortable, and I don't really like it. So I'm working on the connection between my mind, my attitude, and my body, knowing that stretching is important and beneficial, and convincing myself it's worth spending a few minutes most days at least doing some stretching. I like to use a foam roller to combine a little bit of myofascial release along with my stretching. So I'm going to start with the foam roller on my calves, just rolling out. You want to roll both longitudinally, which is in the same direction as the muscle fibers, but also back and forth laterally. If you find spots that are particularly painful, spend a little more time on those. Then the stretch, again incorporating the foam roller. When I'm stretching forward, stretches out both my legs and my back and my shoulders. So my legs are out where I get the foam roller between them. I get some spread about 90 degrees or more. Use the foam roller to help me stretch. By using this to help pull my hands forward, I'm getting a better stretch in the back and the legs. After a few seconds, I can push it a little bit farther. Remember to breathe. You want to hold a stretch for probably 15 to 20 seconds at least. If you contract the muscles that are being stretched for a few seconds, often you can extend your reach a bit. Another device I use is a solid strap, not a stretchy one. I can hook these over the foot, pull back on my foot, trying to get a good stretch in my posterior leg. And other side. So that's just to demonstrate a couple of stretches. I would advise you to stretch other body parts on your own time, and come back to the next edition of Silver Sneakers Boom Mine. Each time, each week, we'll try and progress, get a little more comfortable with the activity, make our neural connection between our mind and our body stronger. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.